Okay. So technically, there are a couple of areas that I want us to focus on. So we've kind of built the platform where we talked about we understand what product management is. We have understood the what is a product manager. We've gone through that different types of product manager roles and how to think about the type of PM that you want to be. We've also gone in depth about what product is versus what project management is. And then a day in the life of a PM, what you should expect generally, right?
Right.
Um, and we've gone through all that, you know, just going through that. So that's just to set us ready to, we're also going through the product development lifecycle, where we talked about the four major phases of the product lifecycle, right? We did our homework on that, understanding the cycles that products go through, and then using what real world examples, understand the product development process, going a bit deeper into the product development process. We also touched up on lean product development and agile. So they're kind of interchangeable. Well, not interchangeable, that's the wrong word. So they're complementary, that's a better word. So lean product development, of course, borrows from the lean manufacturing principles that were used by Toyota in their assembly line process to reduce to be lean. Necessarily lean means to cut out waste, to be working on what matters, not just working for working sake, but cutting down waste and getting things done. And agile is being flexible and nimble enough to being able to get things done. So then we discussed the different types of flavors. We have Scrum. Scrum is agile is a part of Scrum, and the Scrum artifacts, what goes into Scrum. But definitely I would like us to revisit this to go a bit deeper, to do the Scrum. Like to go a bit deeper to explain the different artifacts, but we did touch up on that as well, and how Kanban is a bit different. It's more free and not as constraining as the other. And then we talked about waterfall, the different examples between waterfall and agile, one being linear and one being more nimble and more responsive to market changes. But we also understood that not there's no right or wrong. Some software development fits waterfall model and some fit agile. Especially when you're doing a new product, agile is usually better. Waterfall is for a product that will not change. Like it's an operating system. It's always going to be either moving from a Mac Leopard to Mountain Lion to whatever, or moving from whatever new flavor of Mac OS you have, whether it's Yosemite or moving to Big Sur or whatever, the naming nomenclature that they use, it's still the same domain. They just make incremental changes to it. So in that case, waterfall fits that model well. And so we work through all that. And agile is more like when in the face of uncertainty, building a product that you don't have all the there's a lot of ambiguity around, you can employ this to help you work on what really matters. Otherwise, you'd be working on spinning your wheels, working on things that will not really add value. So that's where the agile comes in. Then we worked our way into understanding user needs, where ideas come from for PM, how to understand your user needs, where products come from, what your job as a product manager is, and why your role is important in an organization. So I showed an example where a simple product, when we use it as a unified whole. We don't think about newsfeed being a separate product. We don't think about reactions being a separate product. We don't think about search being a specific product. We just see it all as one. Facebook, and we just use. Same with Instagram. We see every part of Instagram as one company, but there are different divisions within it where you have search, you have posting, we have all these other stuff, that reels, and all that stuff they've added now. So we work through all that, understanding user needs, the difference between a real need, how product owners should handle requests for features, how to separate the signal from the noise, how to know the different types of customers, what kind of companies might have customers that are not users. So we know the B2C deals with actual users. B2B is usually company to company. And then you have internal products where you deal with just people within a corporation. So that now brings us to these two topics, which is now we've built a foundation. We understand what product manager is. We know the product methodologies. We have an idea of how to understand our users. Now, the main thing here is competitive and market analysis. That is, how do we now, for lack of a better word, understand, because we're playing, most products rarely have one person or one company dominating. Usually you have competing products, or you could have an incumbent that is doing something is more traditionally entrenched customer, but is leaving out a certain niche or certain demographic within your desired space. And that calls for, or ripe for what? Innovation. So as a product manager, you come in to do some competitive analysis, right? To kind of understand where the industry that you're in is going, and what's for lack of a better word, where it's headed. I don't know if I'm making sense. Okay.
You are.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure you're still with me. So I don't know if this, okay, that's good. Sharing the right screen. Cool. So I'm just doing this recap so we can have a way to see where we're going. And there's some of the topics I think we may have to go back a little bit when we are doing the product discovery, to dive in a bit more about how to understand user needs, how to do surveys, how to run questionnaires, how to do focus groups, how to carry out usability studies, how to get the data points that is needed to inform your decision making. Because as a product manager, you're not making decisions in a vacuum. You're making what we call data-driven decision, which means every decision that you make, any changes that you're proposing, you should have data to support it. And also having that data, the data becomes your weapon when say the C-suite or higher ups come to you and they like, Shantae, we want to scrap this feature and implement this because our competitors are doing the same. This is where competitive analysis comes in, right? So it is a very critical aspect, for a critical tool within product management, to be able to perform a competitive analysis on products that you are the product manager of. I'm going to share the slide soon, but I just want to give some background before we go into it, so that will serve as a basis for us to go through. So, as a product manager, you have to be entrepreneurial. And when you're looking at customers or looking at competitors' information, or basically when you're chasing down their information to understand how they work, it's not like creepy or anything, right? It's something that is essential knowledge for you as a product manager, or even as an entrepreneur, right? So you have to know what you're up against. You want to make intelligent decisions about your product strategy, right? And so basically, anything that you want to know, the more you know about the market and the companies that are in it. So give me a space that speaks to you, because product, I told you, product can be anywhere. It could be product is in what? Video. We see streaming. There's everyone's coming out with a plus. There's been what? Hulu
Disney
Plus.
Plus.
There's been Disney Plus. So that's a market that is ripe with what? For disruption. And there's huge fierce competition. Netflix, the king, is now feeling the sting, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So because guess what? They're not gonna Disney and all these people are not just gonna lie down and be like Netflix, you're red and cute. So just rule. So they have been chopping up at Netflix, looking at the customer patterns, right? And more or less in a kind of a stalkerish way. I mean, not stalker, but I'm using that liberally, right? Um, Reading up on them, trying to understand how their customers are. And as a competitor, your your disgruntled users are my favorite customers, right? Because the moment Delta hears that United destroys people's packages, they'll start making ads to poke fun at them and see how they can get others to come over to their side, right? So now all the pluses in the TV space are facing very stiff competition, and Netflix is definitely feeling it now. So the reason I'm asking, so you can find it in the streaming wars. You can find it in um, even in deliveries, right? We have DoorDash, we have Uber Eats. Before it was just Uber Eats. First it was just Uber, and then Caviar came along. There's been DoorDash. There's been Postmates. They still exist, but they've been acquired by each other. DoorDash acquired Caviar and all that stuff. And so, as you can see, product. When we're building up our foundation, product can be even in airline. Product could be in radio. Product could be, and now radio has shifted to what? To the online as podcast. So now you have, before Apple was king. Apple coined the term podcast. Now Spotify is in this fray. We have Clubhouse. We have Twitter followed Clubhouse into the what they call Twitter Spaces, right? So this is the kind of stuff that you are like the Secret Service agent for your company to go in to snoop around. Of course, not in a nefarious way, but to really get the pulse for the company that you're a part of to understand where the market is going, right? So
Right.
give me an example. Yeah, give me an example of a field that speaks to you that you would want to go into. So we have healthcare, health tech, there's finance, fintech, there's ed tech, which is education. I just want you to pick one that we can kind of use as a guide, a gauge, sorry.
I would say something like it would be tech, like the social media, like either um something like Meta.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, we can do
So
that.
so
So
I guess social
who
media.
social media, okay. So that's a bit broad. So who do you think are some of the competitors to Meta right now?
Ooh. Snapchat,
Mm-hmm.
um, Snapchat, TikTok.
Yep.
Um, there's a new one. I don't know the name of it, but you can post once a day randomly. Um,
Um, Post once a day.
yeah, it sends you an alert, so the posts are more organic. So you'll get maybe like in the middle of the day, you'll get a message saying, okay, you can post now. You have a small window of opportunity to post. They want
Oh, okay.
the concept of it is they want you to be more authentic, no more staged photos or anything like that. So
Okay.
there's that one. Twitter,
Uh-huh.
um, I guess YouTube, like YouTube Shorts,
Okay. Yep. You can say
um,
there.
Tumblr,
Yep.
Pinterest.
Yep.
On some levels, this may be far fetched, but LinkedIn, because it takes your
Uh,
time.
it does. Yep. That's also social media, but it's more for business though. But yeah, I get where you're going. Yeah.
Uh, Maybe Twitch.
Okay, so Twitch and YouTube will be in the same category. So I
Okay.
guess they um there's still video. They could be social because there's a there's not a clear cut distinction, right? You could have um like group them like YouTube and Twitch and Vimeo are in the same boat because they're all like streaming platforms, but then they have social features added, right? So Facebook I mean, even has Facebook video, right? So that can also fit
Right.
in that same category. But if you look at YouTube, it's like a video with social attached to it, right? TikTok is video with social attached to it. Literally, YouTube. Why do you think YouTube went into shorts?
To compete with what's that company? To compete with TikTok and to compete
Exactly,
with Instagram Reels,
exactly. Well, basically, the Instagram and YouTube are all copying TikTok,
which is the
right?
biggest competitor right now.
Exactly. Before all these came in, the incumbent was YouTube because YouTube was like the the front house for everybody. The internet TV, everybody just goes on YouTube for almost everything. And then suddenly they realized that well, Snapchat came in with moments and stuff like that, and you know your the I forgot what they call it, status updates, and where it will expire after a certain time. But then they brought in these video thing, and then TikTok came into the fray, and people started like shifting. There's a tectonic shift in the competitive landscape, right? So
Right.
people moved away from, well, they didn't move massively, but they could feel the move. Like people were, the users were, because they could see drops in when they were supposed to have like really um, off the charts. They were now seeing drops, right? Because that tells them something. We used to get in like half a billion monthly active users, and then suddenly we are at 250 billion, million. So now they're like something is wrong, and they look into it. They say that TikTok is like consuming people's time. That it's like endless scrolling, and it just goes on and on for days. So you could be on there, and the ads social feature is very reactive. The attention span, like it's all like it's not done by accident. It's very well planned and very well thought out because because that's the research that they have done. So this is the example of product managers within companies realizing that hey, if we do not innovate, we're going to be the dinosaur. We're going to be like Kodak, right? We're going to be
Right.
the Kodak of our industry, or we're going to be like the Nokia. We're going to be, yeah. So, Ericsson, you name it. So they have to. That's why this skill set, being able to conduct a competitive analysis, is highly sought after and very critical, right?
Yeah, because the research allows you to like infiltrate a market or see where your competitors are weak at.
Exactly, exactly. So, or not just their weakness. So you're looking at their strengths. There's something called SWOT analysis. You're looking at the strengths, their weakness, what are the opportunities that are available, and what are some of the threats, right?
Right.
So, just to backtrack, so I wanted to segue. I meant to combine the competitive analysis and customer development, but I realized that it's a very deep. I'll be doing as much as I want us to move faster, I will be shortchanging the class, and I'll be doing you a disservice by actually um, putting them together because there's a whole lot to cover. Like I want to actually do a part two of this where we do SWOT analysis, where I'll give you examples, and then give you homework on you pick an industry of your choosing. You actually do a competitive analysis. So today, think of today's lecture as the prerequisite for the assignment that's coming up next week, right?
Oh, okay.
Where yeah. So today you're going to look at we're looking at just how the competition looks like. You know, so for example, why you as a product manager need to know about your competitors. It is very critical. You need just to know the types of market circumstances that you as a product manager are getting into, right? Um, Facebook, smartest decision I believe they made was in 2012, and that is what. Take a
Um,
guess.
Probably purchasing Instagram.
Exactly. You know, so by acquiring Instagram, Instagram was not making any money. It was had no revenue. They had raised about 65 million. There were 13 employees, and they had no money, no revenue, right? And but Facebook, same thing that we're talking about today. Facebook did their research. The product managers, like someone like you, did their research and like, look, we are used to getting like in the afternoons we should be buzzing you see on the scale, our user engagement is off the charts. We're having like a 1 billion people on at any given time, especially between noon and 4. And suddenly we're not getting that billion. We're now at, maybe not too critical, maybe drop to 900 million. And then steadily, it could be steadily or could be a big drop where it goes from like a billion monthly active usage or daily active usage to now you're only getting about 600 million. It's still good, but that's not good enough because that 600 million before a billion was like the norm, and now you drop down to 600 million. That 600 million could even be halved if you don't do something about it. So that is where Facebook went in and they did their research and they said, hey, there's this thing called Instagram that does exactly what we do, but better. The pictures are coming out. People actually are going into Instagram to get their pictures, what, filtered and a bit made nice, and then come back and post on Facebook. So they realized people are posting stuff from Instagram to Facebook, and they're tracking the demographic, doing their surveys, doing their customer interviews, doing their due diligence, and they found out, you know what, at this rate, we stand to really become like MySpace. I don't know if you remember MySpace.
Yeah, I do.
Exactly. So MySpace, before Facebook was MySpace, there was all these funny names, Friendster. Where are they now?
They're gone.
Exactly. So this is why you as a product manager, this is why this role pays as much as it pays, because you are more or less the like a CEO. Even though you cannot hire or fire, you're still like the CEO of the company, right? Of that product. And you are bringing in critical information that will inform how the company will move forward in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. So that's why it is important that I don't combine the two, but really treat each one individually. And so you can get the best and get the most out of it. Right.
I
So
understand.
mhm, yeah. So you have to know about your market that you're going into. Is it crowded? Because right now coming up with another YouTube, it has to be very niched, right? It has to be a YouTube for, let's say, what can I think of? Like, so if we look at Udemy, right? Companies like Udemy, companies like Skillshare, YouTube could easily create a channel called Skill Upskill or Skill something, and they can put in hundreds of millions to get highly quality videos done, and they can spin it off as a standalone application. I'm just positive, right? And they could easily start taking money, and they'll just make it all free, right? They'll make it all free and ad driven. So then what's going to happen? It's going to drive people away from Udemy. Like, why should I know Udemy is like $10, $15, or $20, but why should I pay $20 when I can literally just have this free thing, right? So, but YouTube hasn't done it because it's not something that they probably have looked into or don't care too much. But my point is, video already existed, but Udemy was able to still carve a niche within that space by becoming very niche and being focused on the customer segment that they're going for, right? And through that, they're able to create something unique for buying courses online. Coursera is another one. edX is there. They also have there's one called Masterclass, and the list goes on and on. But as a product manager at YouTube, you're a director of product, you can literally say, hey, how about we create we pump money into our thing here. We have the bandwidth, we have everything. We're going to make it such that the classes are shot in a studio with high quality equipment. The material has been vetted by PhDs and approved, all the 9 yards, all the good stuff. And students can watch it, and we make it interactive in the chat so you can communicate with people in the course. And then every once in a while, like every other week, you have a professor do a live event People from all over the world will tune in live and give like free, lectures, and you can have teaching assistants that you can have like office hours with to really drive and give you homework. People will be like, phew, this is free. All you have to do is just watch ads. So companies will pay millions just to get those eyeballs, right? Because
Yeah.
That's why Super Bowl costs so much. You know how much a 15-second Super Bowl costs? So,
Uh, it costs for 15 seconds.
yeah,
I think in close to the mil, or at least 100 upper, almost close to
seven
the millions.
7 million. That's the last Super Bowl. 7 million for just 15, not even 50. 15 seconds. Can you believe that?
And that's just 15 seconds. And that's a lot of money for that.
Exactly. And the companies pay 7 million, 5 million is like the minimum. Yeah, because guess what? They realize Super Bowl is like one of the biggest America's favorite pastime. You know, people do tailgate parties, people cook for it, people prep for it, supporting their teams. They have all those things going, and that's when you get America's attention. So if I want to sell products, that's the time I'm going to get at least. I'm not going to get a whole of America, but I'll get most of America tuned in. America is about 330 something million people. If I Super Bowl, at least 150 or more show up, and they get to see my ad for just 15 seconds throughout that period, and I get just 10% of that. So think about it. And I'm digressing a bit because I'm getting too excited. Um, so assuming I paid 5 or 7 million for Super Bowl ad for
Hmm.
15 seconds or 30 seconds, you name it, whatever, however you, because when you go up into the 30 seconds or 1 minute, then it's getting really costly, right? But let's
That's
just, for
true.
argument's sake, let's say I did a 30-second Super Bowl ad. It cost me, let's say 10 million or 7 million or 5 million. Okay, let's just be conservative, say 5 million. But average Super Bowl, viewership, how much is that? If you look at the Super Bowl viewership just this year alone, there was about 208 million people that tuned in. Do you understand?
Well, that's a lot of people too.
Exactly. So now the way to do the math is 208 million people get to see my product, assuming I only get, let's say, 2% of that to actually buy something. That's about 4 million. And let's say a unit cost for my product is 20 bucks. So now that 4 million people who saw my ad for that 15 to 30 seconds for the Super Bowl, if I only made 2% of that, that's about 4 million. And they actually made a purchase of $20. I just made 83 million. So 83 million against 7 million, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Because the only thing
So
you need is, like you said, you just need the 1%.
exactly. That's all you need. And that 1%, you get to like nurture them, grow them, give them offers, and get them to stick around. And if it's a product that is a monthly subscription, now I just netted 80 million people, $80 million in 1 month. If I got even 1% or 2%, that's what I'm netting. 1% would net me about 40 million. And I spent 5 million, maybe less than all my budget, because I have to, it's not just for the Super Bowl ad spot itself. I also have to hire people the creative agency to do it. Maybe it costs me another 2.5 million. The actors get another 1.5 million. So I'm out of pocket, maybe 9 to 10 million. But that will net me 40 million in revenue. And then if it's a monthly subscription, I can get them locked in for a year. Whew, that's 400 million. So it's like you get the difference.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, but the reason I'm talking about this is you have to like thinking about how do you do the analysis, how do you what feature you're going to be triaging and why it matters to you as an entrepreneur. You have to give this recommendation to your marketing team, Because remember in the beginning, I told you that product management, you are like the what conductor of the orchestra, right? In
Right.
this case, the you are the communications hub for not just tech and not just design, not just for development, but also for the marketing team, sales team. All this information funnels through you. So you should be providing them with like really hot numbers, right? The key insights, like, hey, we have this product, we've done our research, we've done our R&D, we've tested it out, we want to target Super Bowl, whenever they're doing like a World Series or any of those things, or even like Oscars, you name it. We want to put our stuff right there. And when we spend 10 million, we're going to get this back. And it just, grows from there, right? So that's why it's very, very critical. So let me switch in here real quick so we can go through some of the slides here. Um, let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see your screen.
Okay. All right. So competitive analysis. So so now you see why there's a lot to cover. That's why I have to actually separate, the class, because I just thought about it. I was like, you know what? In as much as I would like to just, go in and do everything, I would rather make sure that you're getting the most for your money and out of the class also. Okay. Can you see my screen still?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to make this bigger. I think it's big enough. Okay. So basically, any way your current customer is solving the problem that they have now is your competition, right?
Right.
If people are going to like, for me, I have a Netflix account, but I think I'm past watching movies. I like documentaries. I like things that make me think, right? Things that are based on facts, not some CGI stuff that is like floating and just not true. I don't have time for that, right? So for me, maybe if Netflix did their customer survey, they'll find out that I like to watch stuff like that. So then they might just have a third party, application or a spin-off that will actually cater to people like me, right? That want to watch like hard, like science stuff, this, documentaries on real life things. And it could still be a Netflix company and it'll have a niche where people are going to because the money still goes to whose bank account? Netflix, right?
Right.
So you just have to be creative and create your own, like create something like that. And so then you have more channels because people do not need to know that it's the same, different companies. So Instagram, we all know is Facebook owns it, but they don't change the name to Facegram or anything like that. They make it as keep the same name, and then they just operate as a parent company, and this becomes a subsidiary. Airlines do the same. Recently, Frontier and Spirit wanted to merge, and then Delta, no Delta, JetBlue wants to still merge with Spirit and just have it run as its own, but they're getting that capturing that market as well, right? Because
Right.
you want to have maximize your marketing potential. So, but the long short is any way the customer is solving the problem right now is your competition. So wherever they're going, you need to know. You need to ask questions. How are you solving your problems right now? And again, the reason why I divided this particular lecture into two is we're going to go through how to actually interview customers, how to ask questions, how to get the insight. So that'll be in the next class. But today I just want to lay the foundation. Okay. So how do you do this? You have to look at are there direct competitors? Sometimes you have a very direct competitor. So a very direct competitor to TikTok, in your opinion, who's a direct competitor to TikTok right
It would be, I think YouTube Shorts.
now?
YouTube.
Yeah, you're right. YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts is a great one. It's a direct competitor, but even though so YouTube has been around since 2005, I think. Yeah, with 2004 they were got acquired in 2005, right? So they've been around that long, but TikTok just came in. They actually acquired an app called Musically, and they gutted it out and they made it into, um, you know, TikTok, and now it's just blown up. So now the incumbent is copying the newcomer, right?
Mhm.
Because they could see like soon YouTube would be a graveyard where people just go to, because people are not earning as much as they did before on YouTube. You know, right now people earn more on TikTok. You know, so Google PMs who work at YouTube did their research and they're like, yeah, because they're doing this with as a product manager. Like I explained to you before, there are so many for one company. There'll be so many product managers working on that particular product, and you're all doing your insights and doing your research, and you then collate the data, and then you have your data scientists looking for insights and inferences. They are making what we call they describe the data you've brought in. They do descriptive analysis, prescriptive analysis. They also suggest where we should be going, and the data is showing that people do watch YouTube, yes, but then the demographic that we want to market to are spending all their time on YouTube because most people watch YouTube on desktops because they want to get that whole more or less like a TV-like experience. But TikTok is mainly on the phone. It was mobile first. YouTube was web first or desktop first before mobile. So that virality, there are more cell phones than there are desktops because everybody has at least one or two phones. So guess what? If I have TikTok, I just flip it out and there's all these fun stuff moving out all the time. And I scroll and I scroll and I scroll. If you're into cooking, they have algorithms. As people upload movies, they tag it. So when they tag it as cooking, the algorithm sees, okay, Shantae's looking at cooking. So then they quickly do a search in the databases and queue them all up. And then you're like, how come they keep showing me these nice cooking stuff? They're reading your likes. That's what they call personalized ad serving. So they start sending you all the stuff that you want. So um, your competitors could be direct, they could be indirect. In some cases, so in this case, YouTube Shorts is copying TikTok clearly. Because when I go on YouTube Shorts, I see that it looks kind of similar and it flows, it goes like up and down, just like TikTok.
TikTok.
But hey, exactly. So in this case, they're a direct competitor, even though their formats are a bit different. YouTube had to adapt. You adapt or you die. It's that simple. And then so in some cases, you could have an indirect customer. I mean, as a customer, competitor, right? So they could be solving the same problem by targeting a different, target market. So they could be the same market with a very different product. So you don't want to go in like with a very myopic view of just looking at, oh, we're only video, so I'm going to look at only video, long form. TikTok is the king of short form. And so TikTok has gotten so popular that it used to be only like, I think it was only 30 seconds of video.
Now they're up
And
to 3
now,
minutes.
exactly. There you go. See, before it was only 30 seconds, but they realized that, man, the engagement was so high. And when it got to 3 minutes, now people, content providers or content creators can really sink their teeth deep in and do like, 3 minutes gives me more than enough time, right, to get my message across. And then I can do some overlays, I can do some tags and all that. If TikTok adds that, I mean, they have it for like sponsored deals, but if they allow people to like allow you to buy things like right there in the reels and all that, that's a killer right there. But again, they need product managers like you and I to do that research, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so like I said, direct could be similar products and services. Indirect could be same problem for same market, but with different product and service. So an example is Uber, right? So Uber has direct. Who would be like a direct competitor to Uber right now?
Lyft.
Exactly. And then if you look at like Uber Eats as an example, who would be the direct competitor?
uh DoorDash.
Yeah, DoorDash. There's also Grubhub, which is Grubhub actually started in Chicago. I don't know if you know that. So DoorDash, Grubhub, um, I think Postmates and Caviar, they're still around, but they're not like that popular, but they're there, right?
Wh-
So go ahead.
I was gonna say when it came to um I know Postmates and the others
Hmm.
was like you said, this is how brands or some companies have to survive. They sort of copy. Like with
Uh-huh.
Postmates like niche was they would go to like convenience stores for you and pick things up and deliver it. And I
Exactly.
and Uber Eats now has a similar thing where they shop for anything for you. So is that
Yep.
still the same thing like that?
So that would be an example of indirect competition, right?
Okay.
Because it's the same market but a different product, right?
Right.
So do you know that Uber itself doesn't really make the company money? The ride
N-
sharing.
I didn't know that.
They're like either breaking even or almost losing money. But the goal is to play the long game to become the go-to platform, right? So everybody goes there. But now, given the market, everybody has Uber app, and the name has become a mainstay. Uber has been around for 13 years now. It's been a mainstay. So now, when they do Uber Eats, and then they now doing, like you said, what Postmates used to do. Now, Uber, I can buy alcohol on Uber. You know that? Uber
Yeah.
Eats. Yep. So that's an example of how um, Uber Eats would kind of, they will create that, for lack of a better word, so they will create that moat around their name, and then it's just a matter of now refining other competition, and then just adding Uber Eats to it. And so Uber Eats is well known. Everybody loves driving Uber. So if I'm on Uber, I might as well on a date. I can use my Uber Eats to go get food, and then also use it to go to my date. And I can use Uber Eats to bring some wine back home when I want to chill with my friends, right?
Right.
So so now you see that it's Uber's ethos for when they started was what? Ride
Just ride
hailing,
sharing.
yeah, or ride sharing. And now guess what? They've entered into, so in this case, who would be like a competitor to Uber Eats besides an indirect? So a direct competition will be DoorDash. A direct competition will be Grubhub, right?
Right.
So and the funny thing is, just a sidetrack here. So the competition was bigger. There was of course Uber. Then Uber Eats went into that Uber Eats is there. Then you have your Postmates existed, Caviar existed, Grubhub, and I think Grubhub merged with someone. I forgot who Grubhub merged with, but you know, so basically Uber acquired Postmates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Postmates is more or less, even if they're independent, they're still an Uber company. So what Uber did was they were ride sharing, but they acquired Postmates because Postmates was doing the things that you said, other apps were doing, right? And so that was Uber's way of getting into the food delivery business. So by acquiring Postmates, they were able to get a data, they were able to get all that stuff that they need, and then they still kept the Uber Eats platform and just built around it to
So,
create what they have.
oh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so this is like innovation through acquisition.
Exactly. Yeah. Hmm. So my whole point is that Uber did not do delivery. They acquired a company to get there because sometimes to go through the process of building your own clientele and trying to market things to them is easier to acquire a competitor and then work your way through.
Okay.
So basically, you just come in, you already have the customer base, you have all the stuff, and you just you know, innovate from there. So, a company called Seamless.
Yes.
So Seamless and GrabHub, they actually merged. You know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So GrabHub came out of a U Chicago booth, the business school, and Seamless was a different company. I think I remember the Seamless guys when I was in school back then, and so they did like a 50-50 in 2013. They came together, and so basically, Seamless had the one that actually acquired GrabHub, but they kept the GrabHub name.
Because the
So
brand was already established.
exactly. So everybody just gobbling each other up. And then GrabHub has been acquired by a company called Just Eat. So that's like the game they play. So, but then the question is, they just didn't come to this. They didn't just come out of the woodwork to acquire these companies. They did their research, right?
Right.
Because that's where you, as the product manager, are very needed, right? So you have to know who your direct customer or who your direct competition is, indirect. Who will be an example of an indirect competitor to Uber? So we talk about direct ones. So DoorDash is a competitor. GrabHub or Just to Eat is also a competitor. But who is a indirect competitor?
Well, since Uber also encompasses ride hailing, I would say
Mhm.
taxis or like limo drive, other, driving services.
Yeah, but those are direct. So we're looking at
Okay.
indirect. Indirect.
Mm.
Okay. So for interest of time, I'll just tell you, right? So Instacart.
Yes.
So Instacart is literally what even though they're actually delivering food, but they're actually delivering groceries, right?
Right.
Exactly. So they're delivering groceries, but Uber Eats has something similar too, right? If you go on your Uber Eats app, there's a section for groceries that they've added, right? So that is like an indirect competitor. Uber did not start out in that field, but the PMs did their research, they worked with a data scientist, and they realized that wow, Uber, we have Instacart, and we can eat into the market, right? Because the same people that order food may want to stay home and cook, right? Or they want the convenience of getting certain things done. So they added that. So that's an indirect competitor. But a direct competitor to Instacart, there's one called Get Here. I don't know if you've seen them around.
No, I
They're
haven't.
Yeah, they're big here on the East Coast, but they started out in Europe, a Turkish company, and they do the same thing. That doing, but their unique selling proposition is that they will get your groceries to you in 15 minutes, or you don't pay for it.
No matter the quantity of it.
Yep. So they say 15 minutes in New York City, they'll get it to you.
Wow.
So yep, that's pretty much what they do. That's their thing. Yeah. So let me reduce this a bit so we can fit all this in. So then this is like basic economics. You're looking at stuff like competitive factors in the landscape, right? You're also looking at things like what makes a customer choose one solution over another. So when I said the 15 minutes, you were astounded by that, correct?
Yes.
So if that proves to be true, which would you prefer? Getting your groceries in 15 minutes versus Instacart they'll get it to you whenever?
The 15 minutes, especially if if you get it free, especially.
Exactly. So that right there is an example of how what makes a customer choose one solution over another. In this case, time is the factor, right?
Right.
Sometimes also price. which is cheaper. So here we have what cheaper as an example, and then in this case, the service is it faster? Is it personalized? Is it convenient? So 15 minutes, I can order my groceries and get them to my door in 15 minutes. Shoot, I'll go for that. Versus, Amazon is also in the grocery delivery, right?
Yeah, with Amazon Fresh and Whole Foods.
Exactly. So if you look at it too, Amazon Fresh, Amazon has the distribution, they have the delivery. They're becoming like a vertical one-stop shop. I can do my groceries, I can get everything I need, but um, there's competition. There's Get Here, there's also the Instacart, and then I'm sure there's other ones too, which are and again, as a PM, you should be reading up on your industry and become the domain expert or subject matter expert, right?
Right.
And so these are some of the things. So customers are looking at price. Is it cheaper? They could also look at the service. Is it faster? Or they also look at if it's faster, then if I order like chicken, it'll get to me in 15 minutes. Any perishable goods will get to me in 15 minutes versus like say if I do Amazon Fresh, maybe that'll take me, I have to order it, and then it comes when I get home, it's there. So in that same space, have you heard about HelloFresh?
Yes.
So HelloFresh is a company that's also in that same space. Blue Apron. I know there's been acquisitions left and right, so some of them have acquired each other. So HelloFresh, and there's one called Factor 75. I don't know if you heard of them. I think they're also based in Chicago. That HelloFresh acquired them. Then there's one called Every Plate. I mean, you name it. There are a ton of them, right? And there's some companies that are basically what they do is they have a warehouse where they source the products, and all they do is you just come in and say, "Hey, I want to start one called Black Cooks," and we give them their logo, and they will just white label it for you, right?
Right.
So they have like a how do you call it? An industry complex of warehouse where all the produce come in, all the seasoning and all that stuff. They do it all as a white label service, and HelloFresh will say, "Hey, I want to use your services," and we'll market it to people. So like they become like a conduit for the farmers, right, to get the produce to the people really fast, quick. Now, because I tried out one called Every Plate, and
Hmm.
sometimes they would mix my package with some HelloFresh, you know, um, marketing material or some of their stuff. And when I looked it up, I found out they were, coming from the same place because their Every Plate was like their really cheaper products, and then the HelloFresh was like middle. For some people like me who are cheapskates will not want to spend too much on groceries, right? Because I'm
Right.
single. And then so they created Every Plate for people like me. So they don't lose me to Instacart, right? And then they also created one for like mothers or family people who really have more mouths to feed and they are okay with a bigger budget. So they create a different brand for it, right? So all these things you can create in the same product space. You could be the owner of three products at different price points, and that way it's like catching all the competition. Even though to the customer, oh, why is HelloFresh too expensive? I'm going to um, Every Plate, but they're buying from me too. You get what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And an example would be like Instagram and Facebook. Oh, Facebook is too old for old people in their 30s and blah blah. I'm going to Instagram. Or Instagram is a bit stuffy or more the high school, then go to Snapchat. All right. So what you should be doing as a product manager, you should be looking at um, what is the unfair advantage that um, your competition has over you or your product, or what do you have that they don't have, right?
Hmm.
So search before Google. When I moved here, the big dominant one was what Yahoo. Everybody was going to Yahoo to do their search, but Yahoo was not the only one. There was There was
AOL.
info. There was AOL. There was InfoSeek. There was
Ask
Doc
Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves, DocPile, Alta Vista, you name it. Excite. They were all there. But Google came in with their unfair advantage. Their advantage was these other companies, like Yahoo, was actually using humans to categorize the web. You know, domain expertise. People who are experts will go to the web and they will look for websites and they'll add it to the index. Google comes along and it says, no, we're going to use uh, algorithms and computer code to scour the web, literally, and make snapshots of each site and keep it on our servers, and we'll give copies. So when I request for it, I can give you the list in real time, and then when you click on it, it will send you to that link. And then they find a way to monetize this and went on their merry way to become billionaires, right? Many times over. So now, does it mean that no company can come in and unseat Google? No. As it stands now, Google's the search engine king of the world, right? To the
Right.
point where people say, oh, let me Google that. They use the name as in place of the search. So let me go search that. They say, let me Google that. Nobody says, let me go Yahoo it. Yahoo is like, if you say Yahoo, everyone will just turn around and look at you like, you know,
What's
where did
that?
you come from? Yeah. Like you just got, were you sleep under a rock or something? Yeah. So Yahoo is like gone. And so my whole point is you have to product managers are important because we have to be looking for the developed solution or product that are disruptive. You have to look at our company strengths. Do we have you know, the systems in place? Do we have the domain expertise? Do we have the technical, the dream team that can really execute? Do we have the ability to scale and operate significantly more efficiently than the incumbent? Do we have like access to patents that we can leverage to get to where we want to go, right?
Right. As a
So
product manager, do you have access to, like, for instance, the information about what patents you had that could be beneficial to you?
yes and no. It depends on the industry that you're in, right? So, and also depends on your seniority level. If you're like senior PM, anyone below senior PM might not see it. Senior PM and below might not see it, but when you're now like a group product manager or you become like a director of product or VP of product, then you become privy to some of these trade secrets, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Because patents are very people file them because they see them as assets, right?
Right.
And they are very guarded, and that's why they litigate on patents because at any given time they want to make sure they are protecting their interests.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So, type of analysis, it could be for a company. So in this case, you could be doing company to company. So the company as a whole, some people like Apple did so well with the iPhone that for the long time, um, Samsung was actually sued for literally copying and so many features from the iPhone. And companies sue each other that hey, you copy this from me. That's why they patent stuff, and then they sue each other left and right. So in some companies will copy to the T. Like the company called Xiaomi, they are based in China. What they did was they literally copied how Apple has the distribution, the Apple stores, and how they look. When you walk into an Apple store, it's not like walking into like
Best
well, Radio
Buy.
Shack is Best Buy, where it's like cluttered and everything. The floor, carpets are dirty. The people there don't seem enthusiastic. Just slouch over. When you need help, you have to like Apple. They approach you the moment you walk in. Someone says hello to you. They let you know they are there to serve you. Which company is doing better?
Apple.
Exactly. And it's yeah, they have better products, but not just that. They also added excellent customer service and the customer experience. So when I walk into any Apple store, they greet me. Best Buy, rarely would you find someone go out of the way to greet you.
Or
You have
help
to
you.
actually, or even exactly, you have to actually reach out and ask them to help. And sometimes you may be lucky and get someone who will really be there to help you. So these things all count in business. So some companies you'll be doing research, not just for anything, but just the company culture, the customer experience for that company. You can learn from that and use that as a competitive advantage. Another thing too you can do is to um, so you could be doing a competitive analysis on the whole company or on a product. So it's either or. You could be doing analysis on the company as a whole or just a product within a company. And then you render your data. So, and some of the questions that you want to look into, like when you're doing a competitive analysis, where is the company located? How many years have they been in business? What the number of employees they have? Like you need to know that in and out. Because sometimes your company may be only 300 people, but they have 60,000 employees. That's a massive overhead, right? And so maybe that manpower or the workforce is what's giving them the competitive advantage. So you look at that as well. What is their annual sales? Like the last company I worked for, I got an alert, and I think I should have screenshotted that. It was like almost 300 million that they made. Oh, that's revenue though, but or just online selling all the stuff they sell, 200 million, something like that. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I mean, they pay me six figures. I think they pay me like 180,000. It was a lot of money, but for what they're making, my salary is a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so but they put in the processes and the things in place to get to that where they are. So the annual sales, the major, who are the managers? Where are they from? Are they Ivy League folks? Are they Stanford, Booth people? MIT. Is it an old company? Is it generational wealth? Where is the funding coming from? How much did they receive in funding? Because that will help you to know. Okay, if this company, we are like my team currently, we are a strong 8. We're looking to grow some more, but a team that has 100, a team of 8, you have to look at what's the other thing that is making them tick. If they're a team of 100 and they've raised 60 million, 100 million, they're getting paid real good. Their health insurance, their 401k, all that stuff, PTO is in place. But when you are like a team of 8 and you're struggling to get things done and you don't have the requisite money, and yet you want to innovate against an incumbent, that's like David and Goliath. Unless I'm not saying it's impossible, because I know a story of a gentleman who was behind his rent and he was down on his luck. He had been working on this mobile app game, and he just went to town and got it done, launched it, and it started bringing in, guess how much?
How much?
$200,000 a day.
Wow.
So I say that to say that it's not always the biggest guy that wins. Sometimes it could be a small team, right? That like Instagram only had 13 employees. Facebook had 10,000, 20,000 employees, but they had to buy Instagram of only 13 people to still be able to say because a lot of people use Instagram a whole lot. It's a bit more personalized. The going live on Instagram is like a go-to place for entrepreneurs, for product people that want to sell their products, people that want to sell their services. So it was a very smart move for just 1 billion. It didn't seem like it made sense, but this is why competitive analysis is very critical as a product manager. It's a skill that you need to learn, and I don't expect you to learn it in just this class, because it's a muscle that has to be exercised. So you have to understand where the company's getting their funding from, how much they receive, how long have they been in business, location. If you're based in California and they're doing surfboards, it makes sense than when you're based in Kansas trying to make surfboards, right?
Right.
Exactly. So
'Cause-
looking at what is their strengths, their weaknesses, what are the product lines that they have, who's the primary target market, what's the pricing structure like, what kind of activities are they doing for their marketing, who's their supply person, right?
Some of this stuff I know you're able to Google, like the location, the years of a business, the number of
Mm-hmm,
employees, annual sales, but
mm-hmm.
where do you get the rest of the information, such as um like who's a supply source, or
The
like
the there are websites, the websites that actually do that. So one of them, have you heard about Crunchbase?
yes.
So if I go to a site like Crunchbase, name any company that you want me to do a research on.
Um oh, Netflix.
Hmm. So Crunchbase gives you the information, but you can pay to get more data, right? So right now, this is giving me the free data. I go in here, it's telling me Netflix, online platform that enables users to watch TV shows and movies. They are headquartered in Los Gatos, California, and this is their company size. They're about 5,000 plus employees. It's a public traded company. It's their website. Um, I can just go in. The industry is digital entertainment, video streaming, TV, media entertainment. It's their headquarters. The founder in '97, Mark Randolph and Reed Hastings. Um, and I know a bit deeper because I know Reed had a company that he had sold and made money, and Randolph was the guy that had the idea. So Reed gave him the money to start. They're still in business. Um, you know, so then I go in here. Who are the people? Okay, we have the Chief Technology Officer, April Kelsey. Right now, there's an email that I can reach out to if I sign in. I pay for the service. Um, so I know who's the business development officer. Um, if you're looking at Netflix Mexico, there's a guy to talk to, right? So they
Mhm.
have all these things. Then they have the employee profiles. You have the CEO still, that's Reed Hastings, and he's grooming this guy to be the next CEO, Ted Sarandos. I can go deeper if I want to. Okay, this is Reed Hastings. Okay, read about him. Okay, nice guy. What has he done? He's he's invested into other companies as well. Okay, he's made a number of exits. What are the two exits? Okay, that's good. And so I can read some more about him. Okay, he went to Bowdoin undergrad and then Stanford. Okay, he's a smart guy. I can go back. I can look at this Sandros guy, Sarandos. I can look up him up, get some information about him. So I get a sense of the kind of people that are working there, right?
Right.
Um, Also, for my competitive analysis, I can go in and say financials. Okay, Netflix has had three investments. How did investments go? Um, so if I go back here, it will tell me their financial, some of it, if I go deeper. So to date, Netflix has raised 121 billion. So that puts things in perspective. If you're a team of 13 versus a team of 5,000, and these guys have raised 121 billion with a B over its cost of existence, you should know that, you know, if you only have a few $1,000s, you're really up against the
A
battle
literal
against the wall.
juggernaut.
Exactly. So here I can see, okay, the 797 was when it was founded, but it actually launched in, looking at the dates. I mean, if you want to see more, it will charge, have to pay for it. So I know there's Series C, there are four investors involved. They raised 15 million, 30, 50, 200 million in 2011. They raised half a billion, 400 million, So all these things they look at. I can look at the technology stack, and then also there I can see, okay, here the traffic, the monthly visits, they get about 787 million. visitors, right? Now you see that it's truncated, right? It's gone to minus 3.6. So it matches with the news that we are hearing lately, right?
Right.
And then now it's broken down into market share. So you can see 33% comes from the US. They have 7% from India. There are some from South Korea, Germany, and then you can break it further down, right? But the US is the main competitor here. So the other countries are the ones that are keeping Netflix afloat because here we have the pluses, the war of the pluses that are fighting each other, right?
Yeah, HBO, Disney,
Mm-hmm.
Paramount.
Exactly. So everybody just add a plus to their name and they have a new service, you know. So you can see that their monthly rank actually shrunk by 10.3. That's a lot, right? If you look at
That is.
787 million, you only do like the 30%. Let's just do 10%. So 10% of that is a lot. I think, let's see how much that comes to. So that's like let's make the math a little easier. 780 million, right? Times 10%. So that's like 78 million they just lost. That's a
Jesus.
lot. 78 million. How much is an average Netflix subscription?
I think $9.99.
Okay, so now let's multiply that 78 million by 9.99. That's the average. So that's right there. Netflix lost almost $1 billion for just 10%.
That's huge too.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're scrambling to get things done. So if you look at all this, you can also see the signals here. Massive layoffs. So they have to cut down 3% of his staff to make sure that they can still have runway for the company to operate.
Do companies provide like Crunchbase? You said if you really want to get more in depth, you have to pay for it. Do companies
There,
provide that, or do you as a product manager have to purchase your own tools for research?
if you're working for a company, then yeah, the company should pay for it, not you. Or if they want you to pay for it, then you have to reimburse. They have to reimburse you, right? So
Right.
the company I work for, I wanted us to use Balsamic. I made a request. They will do a research and find out if it's something that they need for the long term. There's a committee that will sit on it and look at it and say, okay, yeah, we think it's a good thing, and then they'll authorize it. So they used to use Sketch as their so the Sketch app. I don't know if it's still available. So that was like what people used to create user interfaces for the longest time.
Mhm.
And then Figma came along, and Figma has been eating Sketch's lunch. And Sketch is like you pay, I think it's $100 every year. So people are like, you know what? I don't have to change their pricing. Okay, I think yeah, it's still $100 a year because it's $9.99. Yeah, $99 per editor year. So when you pay for $99, whatever updates and everything that you receive, you can get them for that period. And then after that, anything the next year you can keep the old one, and then they go to the next one. So you're not able to get onto pay another $100. So Figma comes along, they're like, screw that. We're just gonna and then Sketch only works on on Macs. Even with PC, you can't really use Sketch.
Mhm.
Figma sees that they come in and they provide a product that actually does both. So Figma works on both iOS and Android, and it works on Macs and PCs, and also in the browser. This one you have to download the app to really use it, um, and then you have to download other supporting apps to really make it work, right? So
Right.
Figma comes along. It's the same thing with competitive analysis. So Figma comes along and they find this is where our customers have pain points. This is where they cannot use Figma. Sketch is great, like it's beautiful. They have like all these great stuff. They have very beautiful designs, but you can only use on a Mac. Well, what about the PC customers? There are so many PCs, you know that.
Yes.
So they were leaving a lot of money on the table. The Figma comes in, they're like, you know what? We're doing uh, a platform agnostic and we're gonna be such that any and everyone can use us. So this is like Figma. It's nice and clean. I mean, Sketch, nice and clean. You can create all this beautiful stuff, but you can only use it for Macs. This is like created. The environment is strictly Mac OS, right? And then Figma says, "Hold my beer." They come in, they just create all this stuff. I can even do designs. I can show you. And I'm getting a bit off topic, but I'll show you. I can do my designs in a browser. I don't have to download anything. This is like the stuff that I use for work. So I showed you this before, bubbles, right?
Oh,
Okay, it's loading. You remember this, right? The bubbles?
yes.
Yeah. So it's still coming along. So here I can go in and make all the changes. I can say, and I'm doing this all in the web. I can just go in and say, okay, I want to change this to, and I'm doing everything like in real time. I say, okay, I want to change this to, I'll change it back, but I'll say Chicago, Illinois, right? I just changed it. And if I go like that, it's ready to go. Um, okay, so I switch it back to New York. So right there, I'm in my browser, I'm able to get all these things done, change it. I can collaborate with other people in there, you know. So everything is quick and easy. You see it?
I see it.
Yeah. So that takes us to, basically where we are when you're doing like products and competitive analysis. To answer your question, there are so many tools, and the company that you're with has to pay for it. That's if they really want to. There's so many. There's one that will show you your companies like Nike who actually provides their clothes for them. When you really need to do research, there are tools that you can use. The marketing activities. The company called Moat. Are you familiar with Moat?
No.
So Moat was actually started by students that I one of them I knew, a couple of them I knew at school. So Moat allows me, I can look at, say, name any brand you want me to do a research on. I want to see how they do their marketing, how they do their advertising portfolio. I can just go here and search. So just name any company you want me to do a search on.
Meta.
Okay, let's see. So here, because Meta is kind of new, a name change that was done recently, it will not reflect that well. So let's use the name that we know. So let's say I do Facebook. Now it should show me how people do their Facebook does their campaigns. What's the I'm gonna have to sign up to show you all this. What's their creative edge? Since we're doing Netflix, let's see Netflix as an example. So Netflix, how they do their campaign, all these ads. So I see the dimensions, 160 by 600. It was a campaign they used from February up until now to promote Stranger Things. There's more. I can load more. I can look at how they are serving it on ads. So this is how they're promoting something for Idris Elba. I think there's a show. So, and this is how they show these shows. These are ad creatives that they will promote on, like, on a banner on a website. They show you the dimensions, 120 by 600. When they used it, you can click in and find out how they implemented it, all that stuff. When the Squid Game was a big thing last year, they show you, this is like an ad that they did. Probably they bombarded all the online other blogs and stuff with this. So people click on it, it takes you back to Netflix. So Squid Game. So this is like a place where I can go if I was working on an advertising brand. I could just go there and I can learn. So since we're doing Netflix, let's look at Hulu. Um, I can do a search on Hulu. So this is how they're creating their creatives. You've seen these kind of ads, right, on websites.
Yes.
And
And
that's
even
why I can
on YouTube, like on the
ex-
side of YouTube and on webs, like you said,
exactly,
websites.
yeah. So they have what we call the skyscraper. You know what a skyscraper is, right?
No.
So the skyscrapers are ads that are like, let me find a good one. So something like this is thin, right? Like something like this is a skyscraper. It's just a type of
Okay.
an ad called skyscraper. These are skyscrapers because they are shaped like skyscrapers, like tall and thin.
Hmm.
And then something like these will be banner ads. Usually, banner ads are usually bigger, so I can get an example of a banner ad. These are like little ones that will come in the bottom of like YouTube videos or other websites. And then you have skyscrapers, you have banner ads, and then you have what we call interstitials. Interstitials are really big ones. When you're clicking from one page to another, there'll be an ad that will show up for a few seconds before it will proceed to the next page. So that's an interstitial. It just means inter means between, and interstitial means state. So it's between states, moving from one screen to the other. So this is like a banner ad, right?
Yeah.
So that's a banner, and this is like a skyscraper because it's like thin, and it could be on the left side or the right side of an app, website or blog or any other thing. And this could be like a little one. They have like very little ones they create for insets. So there's so many of them. Um, Paramount. So if I'm doing my research, I'm like, okay, so Paramount Plus is doing a campaign. Okay, that's how they have Paramount Plus. Yes, these are all skyscrapers. Where are some of the banner ads? I mean, I don't have an account here, but if you go in, you see all of these Big Brother live feeds. Um, like it's endless, right? So I can see how, okay, hey guys, I want us to do a promotion for this show. Come in here. Okay, they created one like this. Dimensions were turned up by 600, and look at how they laid it out. And I can get some information on how it actually did. Um, I think we mentioned HBO. So you see that they all look the same, similar.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are some of the tools that I can use as a product manager to get inside. There's so many. There's one. Let me think of another one. I can. There's one called Deal Book. Um, or Deal Flow or something like that. I go to no, probably not. That's not it. And there's one that was started by. Okay, not that one. Um, um, the one that Angel List. So I can go on Angel List, Angel List, right? And there's a specific place where I can search for companies and do research on them, right? I can do my research on them. There used to be one called compete.com, but they got shut down. And I think so, either they were bought and shut down. Um, then there's so many.
How do you go about finding the right one that you need or for the
Well,
research?
it all comes with experience, right? Um, there could be someone like a company that they already have it, or as you read around, you come to learn. Oh, okay, this is industry, the go-to for my industry, because every industry is different, right?
Right.
So fintech, you definitely want to go to something like what Bloomberg,
On Wall Street. Okay.
economist.com, Bloomberg, Binance. Let's see. So we have Binance. There's so many places that you can go. There's one I wanted to show before going here. So Bloomberg. There's also one called Product Hunt. I go in there, I can find new products that are coming in, and you know, read up on them. So there's the tools are so many. The tools are a dime a dozen, but it all comes with practice and learning. Let me see. Go back here. Share my screen once again. Can you see it?
I can't see I can't see the screen. It's still on Zoom. Okay, now I do.
Okay. So and I think we discussed all this. Let's see. Oracle buys them. Yeah. So the tools they just come with when you've actually been working on it for a while. In the industry, you just know, and you also hear from friends. People talk about them, and you're like, okay, this is where I need to go when I need to find what I need, right?
Okay.
And some companies also provide you everything you need, right? So for example, to want to do a competitive analysis, you write all your competition down, look at a feature 1, 2, 3, 4. You look at the pros and cons of it. It's a lot of work. The products, the product quality, the rate segmentation. That's why, as a product manager, you can't do it all. So you have a team, right? So you can have like a data analyst, you can have a researcher that goes in and does this, but you should also, that depends on the side of the company, but you should be able to know how to do it yourself and be able to do research, right?
Right.
Yeah. So some of the features you can look at. So when you look at this, I'm comparing TikTok to YouTube Shorts to Facebook. What do you call it? Who has the Reels? Is that Instagram?
Instagram Reels.
Yeah, Instagram Reels, and then YouTube, whatever they call theirs. So I list them all out. Then I can look at, okay, is this a price issue? Is it how do you call it? Ease of use, number of features they provide me, type of features. Is there a wow factor? All these things you look at to determine which features you want to actually test and provide in the table, so you can make an informed decision on which competitor is actually dominating, right? So where do you find information about customers? You competition, you do customer discovery, because when you talk to the users, they will give you insight as to what's working and what's not, right?
Right.
You understand what their pain points are. And so we were a bit ahead of ourselves when we went to the competitors at advertising, right?
Yes.
You can look at the advertising. That's where something like Moat comes into play. So I can look at brands and agencies. I go in there, I can see, because Oracle bought them, so an Oracle company now. So I can look at Moat analytics. I can look at what's going on with my competition. Where are they spending their money? How is that coming? Why are they spending it there? You know what I mean?
Right.
So you can know the audience level and the viewability frequency and analytics for your competition. You can also know the ad and content measurement, for how they're measuring it. How do you measure what matters from verification to ad impact? Their real-time marketing and ad intelligence. Customers, so platforms you can go in. I think they want you to sign up and use it, but so all these, I can go in if I look at Spotify or any platform that I want to get insight on. I go in there and I'm able to really get the insight, right? So the advertising, I look at the way they display stuff, their sales brochure. So it's more or less like it's kind of like doing espionage, right?
Mhm.
You're like you're literally like a creep. You're but in a very ethical way. You're going in, you're looking at newspaper articles about the company, setting up alerts on the company, looking at competitors or comparing their website. Um, Look at all sites that create great products and see where your proposition falls in, and then look at the LinkedIn professional networks to get insight. So there's so many places. Hold on one second. Oops. Okay, so you can see that it comes from so many places, right? Um, you can research competitors that no longer are in business, so you can see what went wrong. Maybe that company got acquired, but it doesn't mean the industry is no longer good. It's just that they were acquired, so you can learn what they did right, and then you could create like a research matrix. Looking at investment pitches that they made. Looking at all that. It's like anything you can. It's some. That Netflix, before Netflix became Netflix, there was Blockbuster, right?
Yes, and Coconut Video, I think.
Which one?
It was a Blockbuster Video and a Coconut Video,
Uh,
Coconuts.
okay, I didn't know of Coconuts, but Blockbuster Video, they were the incumbents. Everybody talking about Blockbuster. It's like the thing is, you go with your girlfriend or boyfriend or family, and you go rent out a movie on VHS. You rent it and you pay your monthly dues. You drive there, pick your movie, you come home, everybody's ready, you pop it in your VCR, and you have your popcorn ready, and you watch it at home. And then when you're done, you have to rewind it and then set it back. If you don't set it back, you get charged a fee. So it's actually from the fee that the fee is what spurred someone on to his video was stuck for like days or weeks or whatever. It was vacation, and the fees stacked up. He's like, huh, couldn't that be a way that I could actually not be charged for this fee and be able to rent movies and blah blah blah, and that led them down this pathway, right? But
Right.
what why am I bringing this up? Do you know that Netflix actually hired employees that they sent to get employment at Blockbuster to learn the ins and out of Blockbuster?
Oh, that is like spies.
Exactly. That's like getting like really dirty. I wouldn't encourage you to do that, but that's like really getting like really, really dirty, right? So you should be companies do that. There's been trade secrets and all that stuff. So you should be able to like describe your competitive advantage, the benefits, the features, and be able to look at your competition as well and compare and contrast. Right. These are examples. We're not going to go into them. Like you look at um, things that we do that they don't, things we do better than them, things we do equally, things they do better than us, things they do that we don't. So you have that matrix, and then looking at it, I should probably be just doing the same for my agency, and understand that competition, what they do, they do better, and then you model yours after that. So it's basically like looking at Big Brother or your big sister, and learning how she gets what she gets, so you can be like them, pretty much.
Okay.
So the company names, it's a tagline they use. The main position is what they do. This is their website title, the website meta description, the Twitter profile. So you're copying everything. Well, this is old from their Google Plus, LinkedIn. You look at all that so you can draw insights from that, right? Competitor analysis. So Flipkart is just like Instacart, right?
Hmm.
Look at that. So you have Flipkart, but Instacart is the US. Flipkart is Instacart of India. So Flipkart, you're looking at comparing them to Amazon Fresh, which is Amazon in India. So the homepage, where the ratings people get for, you know, um, Product categories, Flipkart does it better. Um, I have to compare. Amazon doesn't have it. Books, three. So all these things, you compare, contrast the payment, and then you come up with a profile. So there's a whole lot. Competitor analysis, looking at features, the pricing, how much they're bringing in, what's the feedback, what's their CSAT score, customer satisfaction score. Um, you know, so the list goes on and is endless. Um, so now you understand why there's more to share. That's why we have to like divide the class into two. And I'd rather we do more and get the more insight than just rushing through and trying to combine the two, just so we can say we're done. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot, and you're not alone. As a PM, you are supposed to be guiding the whole show, but you're not left to your own devices. The company has to provide the tools, right?
Right.
And then when there's no tools, you have to be innovative enough to figure out where to find the answers.
Okay.
Yeah. So you never say, oh, but there's no information. So what should I do? You have to find a way.
That's why they always say in job descriptions to be able to work independently.
Mm-hmm. They don't need somebody that they have to babysit. Because if they have to tell you what to do, then you probably shouldn't be working there.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. So you have to like be on your toes. Um, you know, you have to know your customers so well that you dream about them. You wake up thinking about your competition, right? You should like obsess about them that you go to bed just dreaming about whatever competition that you want to, be up, you should wake up first thing in the morning. What is Amazon doing?
That's the
You
first
know,
news you check.
exactly. Yeah. That's the level of unhealthy obsession you have to have. Yeah.
Now, will we
You
have
know,
homework on this for this week or no?
so I'm thinking I could send some homework, but well, this is just part one. So we need to get to the second part before I get the homework.
Okay.
But I'll have some questions. I'll put together some questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm. So yeah, there's a So today we looked at how to look at competition, understand who your competitors are. Um, you know, you have to know the difference between your known and unknown competitors. You have to figure out your known competitors and know what they're working on as a product manager for your employer, right?
Right.
You have to know what the opportunities are, what the strengths of your competition is, what are their weaknesses, what are the threats they have, what's their killer feature that they have to, and then, um, there's just, it's just endless.
Okay.
Yeah. You should also look at, go on their ratings. If they have a 2.5 rating, then you have to check and see. Like I said earlier in the lecture, your competitors, bad customers are your what? Your potential clients or customers. So when you're seeing that they're getting like 1% or 1 star out of our 200 ratings, then there's something wrong, right?
And that's
Why these? What was that?
and that's it. That's an opportunity for you.
Exactly. So, how the individual complaints, what's the hidden message within them, right? Leveraging that power of the customer conversation, crafting, solutions. When you read through that alone, you see where they're dropping the ball, and then you can now craft your solution to what? To plug in those holes. And then those customers, you can go to sometimes you have a name, there might be an email, you send a query, say, hey, what do you think about a product that does this, that can allow you to do? Some companies, you go there, they have like comments saying, oh, this company sucks. I wish I could even give them a zero rating, right?
I
So
see
there
that a
you're
lot.
exactly, you know. So you learn. Google is your best friend if you need anything. Um, develop a pitch. You describe the products and be able to how to find your competitors. Um, we also learn about direct and indirect and potential competitors and their impact. Right. So
Mhm.
basically, categorize your competitors. It's important to know who's your direct competitor because not everybody is your direct. Who's your indirect competitor and who's a potential, right? You have to learn how
Right.
to distinguish the four different competitor types. Walk through, you know, each of them and understand. Okay, this is our direct competitor. Now, how do they do what they do? Um, so by categorizing them, your competitors, it helps you to prioritize your plan line of action, right? And then it
Right.
also helps you to, out of the four different competitor types, you're able to determine um, which one is your highest priority, how to rank them, right? You break them down, and then you know which one you should focus on and which one you should target.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not just enough to know who your competitors are, you have to also be able to sort them into nice, neat categories. You know, you should know them and understand them. You need to have a handle on what comes to your competitors, you know, what makes them tick, right? Why is this competitor better than you? Or why is in the landscape, why is this competitor better than the other three or the other four, right?
Mhm.
Hmm. So it's by just keeping tabs on them. Five crucial criteria, and you just investigate, keep investigating. Um, you know, understanding them, what's their core product, um, looking at the technology stack, understanding why they do things the way they do. Look at the size of the company, the size of their downloads. Um, there's Forrester, there's Gartner, there's all these reports that can shed more insight, right? What's the user base in terms of the competition? Um, how do you call it? There's a lot. So you look at their weaknesses, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We're going to go more deeper in the next class. So that's what
Okay.
I'm trying to say. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Think we've done wow, almost 2 hours.
Okay.